Good morning. It is Friday, October 11th. My name is Jeff Bruner with WiLS, and I am pleased to introduce and to welcome Scott Williams coming to us from Infobase. Scott is a business development executive for public libraries at Infobase. And in the next 30 minutes, Scott is going to provide an overview of three of Infobase's services that are well suited for public libraries. These include the streaming service Just for Kids, the Mailbox Plus, which are activities and resources especially geared for pre-K to sixth graders, and also World Almanac for Kids. So we have shared in the chat a link to a trial for all three of these resources. As a reminder, the webinar is being recorded and will be shared out afterwards. So if you are watching the recording and don't have access to the chat, please reach out to us here at WiLS if you don't have that trial link. Finally, during the session, if you've got any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat box. We'll be keeping an eye on that, and we'll make sure that Scott can see them and answer them. So with all of that said, I'd like to welcome Scott, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that you can take over.
Jeff, thank you very much for the introduction. I have a lot that I want to cover in the next 30 minutes, so I'm going to move fairly quickly, but please don't hesitate to put a question in the chat box. Jeff's going to help me out and call those out to me as we go along. I'll also hopefully have a couple minutes at the end to answer any questions that you might have. So for those of you that don't know Infobase, we're a company that's been around for a long time, been around for over 80 years now. A lot of people may not recognize Infobase because we're known more by our brand names or kind of a conglomeration. We're not going to talk about all these products. As Jeff mentioned, we're going to talk about 4 products today. But as you can see, we started out as Facts on File, which a lot of librarians recognize, but brand names like Ferguson's, Bloom's, Chelsea House, the Films on Demand, the Mailbox, a lot of librarians do know those brand names. But today, what we're going to focus on, as mentioned earlier, is 4 products. One is the Mailbox. One is Just for Kids, which is a video product, and World Almanac for Kids. And there's actually 2 versions, one for upper elementary into middle school and one for lower elementary. I'm going to start with Mailbox. Mailbox has been one of my most popular products over the last year or two. Part of the reason is that we didn't sell it to public libraries. Infobase is probably better known in the K-12 and academic markets than in the library market. But it was decided that we were going to offer the Mailbox to public libraries. And when I first started telling people about it, they were like, oh yeah, I know the Mailbox. We used to subscribe to the magazine. So there may be people listening today that subscribe to that magazine or have copies of that magazine in their collection today or did. It's obviously not a magazine today. It's a digital service, but it is right on target for the mission of a lot of libraries that are looking to support parents that are trying to help their young students academically, for parents that are homeschooling their children, looking for supplemental content, and for librarians that are looking for grab-and-go content to support the decoration of the children's library area or content that will allow them to have activities to use in the library. What I'm going to do now is just kind of take a quick look at the product. So I'm going to jump over to the service itself. As I mentioned, it used to be a magazine. That magazine in print no longer exists, but note that we still keep that trend going on and that there's new content coming out every month as if it were a magazine. So you can see from the editors, and there is an editor for preschool, there is an editor for kindergarten, and so on and so forth. So every month, new content is coming out. This is content created by educators for anyone that is interested in helping young students master the basic academic skills. When I look at a product, I often want to see how, it might have applied to me. I could see this as being an excellent product for maybe summer bridge. I could see this as a product for parents that are trying to help their students through areas that they're challenged with. Case in point, math was a challenge for one of my daughters. And if I would have had this resource and been able to find supplemental content to help them with their math challenges and fraction challenges and these concepts, a lot of ways to approach this, be it flashcards or games or worksheets or ideas to maybe better explain how that concept works, would have been a great asset. As I mentioned, Summer Bridge, we always bought the books, the Summer Bridge titles from Barnes and Nobles, but to have something like this would have been a lot more surgical and effective. So as I say, I think a lot of your parents would welcome this. There's 55,000 items in the collection, and it's growing on a regular basis. I will say one of the things that have been called out to me as well is the seasonal content. A lot of children's librarians have said that's something they would like to have and be able to use. I've had a lot of children's librarians again reach out to me and say, wow, this is great. I put together, grab and go packets, take an old magazine rack and maybe put in, content for the different grade levels that parents or students can take away. So this is something where you can go, you have full rights to use it, to print it, and that it's been looked at by editors to make sure that it's pedagogically sound and created by educators. Oops. The next product I want to look at is called Just for Kids. This is a streaming video service. For you that know Infobase, you know that we have a couple of different video services, Access Video on Demand being one, but Just for Kids, also Access Video, is focused on the younger audience. Again, I want to jump over and show the product. You can see there's over 13,000 videos in this collection. We're adding content on a regular basis. When you look at this first page, you'll see content that you may say, oh, that's been around for a while. I remember that or whatever. Note that's because it's popular and gets a lot of use. We are adding content, as I say, very weekly. The search option is based on the icons that you see here. I like to point out some of the producers they work with. One that gets called out quite a lot is Weston Woods. A lot of children's librarians like this, a lot of parents like this, but there's a lot of content that is great for emergent and pre-emergent readers. So again, the tie into any homeschool population that you might serve, or any parent that's looking to help their students get ahead in their reading skills. More eyes over print with voice support always improves reading skills. We'll look a little more at this, but this content here that you see, these rivers of content in the admin section, you could change it up. So if you wanted to have a river of content that was tied into Wisconsin or tied into the summer reading program or other events in the community, you could do that. talking a little more about this product, I did want to say that everything that we looked at there would be accessible via the authentication that you set up. So if you wanted to use barcode authentication or IP address or whatever, a combination of the both, we can watch videos, nothing more required. But if you do want to take it to the next level and you wanted to create a account, you could do that. And then you can create playlists. So it might be helpful. In this case, an example might be a children's librarian wants to put together a collection of content that supports their summer reading program. So they've gone out and collected videos from different countries, or the theme was just picked, but it could be anything that you wanted to go for. As you say, there's a very broad collection of content. You wouldn't have any trouble finding content to support any theme that you might want to dive into or expand upon. We also allow you to upload custom content on a limited basis. So if you don't have a platform that otherwise allows you to do that, this platform will allow you to add content on the back end. We are not providing anything that's just open, free content that's available on the web. But if you have a group of content that you wanted to include, maybe a museum in the area, or the New York Museum, or a museum from another part of the states has open content, you can turn that on onto this service and add content at no additional cost. And I mentioned about customizing the homepage. If you want to change that up, that's certainly allowed and encouraged. So World Almanac for Kids is a general research database. There's two levels of it. There's the World Almanac for Kids and the World Almanac for Kids for elementary. I mentioned before, this is for probably 4, 5, 4th, 5th grade and up into lower middle school, and this one is for the younger students. Again, we'll jump over. As you come in, you'll find that both of these services are similar, just at different age levels. Both of them have today's features, which is going to offer content that might inspire interest, thoughts, get someone excited about, maybe birds, or maybe they're more a geologist and interested in this content, or a future astronomer and more interested in this type of content. As far as the feature topics, these are things that are new, or things that are of popular interest that you can explore. Again, that's one of the nice things about the Infobase databases across the range of our offering, is that it does invite you to come and explore, the different ideas. If you don't know what you're looking at, of course, we do have the general search bar if you do know what you're looking for, to dive in right from the top. As we go in and we look at a topic, for example, you'll see that the topics will allow you to go from very general concepts into more complicated concepts. We can dive in and look for what we want to, or we could actually just progress through the content. But the ones at the top tend to be the most approachable, the most basic, and then a little bit more sophisticated as we go down the list. You can see the number of topics that are covered. In each topic, as appropriate, they will have fun facts, they'll have videos. If there were games and quizzes available, those would also be listed. Key people associated with that topic will also be listed and allow you to dive in and learn more about that particular person. So a great starting database for young students. So if you want to look at the topics in a general sense, this is probably the best way to get to them. But as you go into the topics, again, you're going to find the support content would be videos that, whether you have a video service or not, there'll be videos to support the different topics when appropriate. Games, same goes for that. Maps, flags, fun facts, and homework help with essays and writing projects. I skipped this one specifically because this is a popular aspect of the product to help with science projects that will allow a student to get the details of how they might take on a science project, be it for science fair or for a class project. The World Almanac for Kids Elementary is age appropriate. You'll see it's very similar in the sense that it has, the today's content, the quiz of the day, feature topics again, and the same resources, but again, age appropriate. As far as the admin tools and usage boosters, we are on one integrated platform. So if you were to buy all these services, you go one place and you can see your admin for running reports to get your statistics that you have to report, to find mark records, and which might help you to promote the product. Usage boosters, which will have, depends on the product, we have different things, but we have point of sale marketing content such as print on demand bookmarks and posters and whatnot. But we also have, especially for the video product, some really cute videos that you push out on social media to help promote use and let people know about this service.
Scott, we've had a question come into the chat.
Go ahead.
Brian asks, are there accessibility options for kids with vision or hearing limitations?
We are in compliance with the standards that are currently in place and working hard to make sure that we're ready for the 2026 upgrade in that. I'm not an expert, but we are meeting the base requirements in that area, but I can't expand on it. And I could get more to you or pull in some of my resources and get you more information on that. So I apologize for not being able to more fully answer that question.
That's fantastic. Yeah, we're happy to share things out after the fact. Thanks, Scott.
This is the admin page that I mentioned to you in the previous slide. As you can see, the things that I talked about, there's a variety of reports that are available. You can look at the data in a lot of different ways, 10 reports per service or something like that. The usage boosters allows for access to the marketing information that I was talking about earlier. Content will show you everything that's included in the list. So if you're like, what producers are we working with, or what titles do we have, or in the case that there is a title that for some reason in some communities are like, we want to make sure that we have the ability to suppress titles, you have the ability. I don't think you would find anything in the service we're looking at today that would be of concern that you would, necessarily suppress, but that capability, is there, as well as your ability to add content via, web services that might be available. Mark records, people will use that to help promote the service via their iOS system, and mention suppression and some basic product setting options. So in my anxiety to not finish, I raced through this very quickly and I'm finished early. So I didn't expect that, but I maybe it gives us a few minutes to answer any questions that you have, or be willing to chat if other people can be turned on as far as their audio. But if not, just know you have my contact information. I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you might have. Please reach out directly. We have a lot of other products that are available via, infobase.com that may be appropriate if you're covering, students beyond the younger students that we talked about today. Some of the popular products like Bloom's literary criticisms and Ferguson career guidance are also popular in that K-12 space. I've also included Sarah's contact information. She would be the person to talk to about discounts, via WiLS. And I guess Jeff would be more than happy to talk to you about that as well. So with that, I will pause. And if there's not any questions, I think that I'm done.
We have, well, there is another question, but I actually think Sarah just answered it. We had a question about the trial link, and Sarah has just put that into the chat, including the credentials to get into the trial. I haven't seen any other questions come in, but I will say that if you are watching live, feel free to jump in with any questions you have, or as Scott mentioned, if you're watching the recording after the fact, do please feel free to reach out to us here at WiLS via the email you see here, or you could reach us at coop@wils.org, or as Scott offered, feel free to email him or contact him directly as well. I think I don't see anything new having come in, so I think we might be ready to wrap up.
Well, Sarah and Jeff, thank you very much for allowing me to be a part of this meeting today, and thank you that attended. I hope that we get an opportunity to talk one-on-one at some point in the future.
Thank you, Scott, for showing us these fantastic products. I'm really excited to be highlighting some of the things that Infobase has to offer in the public library sector, which is an area where we have a lot of connections, and I know that there's a lot of things that they could really take advantage of, including the 3 things you showed us today. So thanks again, Scott.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you, and everybody have a great weekend.
Yeah, have a great weekend too, Scott. Thank you, everybody who attended live or who was watching the recording. It's Friday now. If you're watching the recording, it's Friday where I am, or when I am. So I'm going to go ahead and say happy weekend to everyone, and we'll see you all again soon. Take care.